Lot of room here, lot of room here. Okay.
Okay, everybody, shut up.
Right, welcome everybody. Thank you, Neill. Little story. Neill burst into my life in rather dramatic fashion in 1978. I was living with a few smelly sailors doing their military service, and we lived in a house in Muizenberg. And one Friday night, every time they came back from Simonstown, they passed Kalk by, and they bought 2 snoek. And we'd stand on the balcony of this house, and we would cook braai, the snoek, full of everything, but we drank the tequila. We didn't put that in the snoek. Anyway, it was always one guy's turn to work out where we're going for a jaw. And that night, this guy said, I have got the best jaw in Cape Town. I've got it on good authority that the people we are going to see are the best band in the world at the moment.
Tonight.
In the world. In the world. Anyway, we got into my van. Oh, your phone. We got into the van, my van, and off we went to Newlands, and we walked into this venue, and there was like a blackboard. And it said, welcome Neill Solomon and the Uptown Rhythm Dogs. 1978.
How was it celebrated?
It was one of the best performances or nights of my life, and has remained so since then. The dogs became the passengers, and then he started the studio with Otto, and he moved seamlessly, as we all know, into recording, producing, and writing for films. I hadn't seen Neill, and for 7 years I didn't see him. So when Neill called a few weeks ago, my timing's a bit wonky there, but I didn't see Neill from 78 to 85, if anyone's doing the maths. Okay. Anyway, when Neill called a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, asking me to say a few words at the opening of his exhibition, I was perplexed. I said, what, of your music? So he says, no, my art, and laughs. So I thought, okay, well, we set a time, and I zip off to Norwood, and I arrive there, and Terence comes and meets me at the door, takes me into the house, and there's just art all over that music studio. So I sit down with a cup of tea, and they start telling me exactly what it's all about, the thinking behind it, what exactly fickle melancholia means. And after about 10 minutes, I say, hold the phone. I said, where does this all come from? Where does all this come from? And Neill says to me, COVID. So I say, no. I mean, no, we know about COVID and good things have come out of COVID, but where does all this come from? And because you know the whole world knows about Neill's musical prowess and his dancing ability. Famous for that. And then they started telling me, Neill started telling me in 1972, Neill was doing his military training at an army base called 83 T Stores Depot. Is that correct, Neill? Durban, just south of Durban.
Yeah.
One night he was standing guard. You know how we used to have to stand guard? I don't know if the Oaks here can remember. We used to have to stand guard in those little huts. Freezing cold. Durban's not so freezing cold. Where I was, it was in Bethlehem, it was cold. And he was standing there minding his own business, being very parat, being like a good soldier, like he is. And then he heard these weird sounds coming from the little hut across the way. Very strange sounds. And he stands and he thinks, is it a nuclear threat? Is South Africa being attacked by the Russians? Is the Rooi Gevaar on our doorstep? Were aliens invading 83T stores? Do you want to come in? Turns out it was the aliens. Or an alien. It was the well-known alien Ellis Pearson, practicing his magic and his recorder and whatever in the other little guard hut. Ellis Pearson, for those of you who don't know, is an extremely talented performer, actor, musician, artist, just like Neill Solomon. Ellis happened to be in his first year at Durban Art School and was doing one of his weekend camps. You know, in the old days, you used to do 9 months in the army, and then you have to do weekend camps for 6 months. You know, not like a year and then a month. So Ellis was doing his weekend. Anyway, the following year, Neill enrolled at the art school, and this is where he and Ellis became lifelong friends. Ellis was in his second year of study and was very involved in learning to play everything that had a wing or a spring or a feather and the double bass, because Ellis played everything. He would play everything. It would be ding, everything. Anything was a musical, your head was a musical instrument. Neill was already writing songs, playing guitar and piano and singing. So the other obvious thing was for them to hook up. And they started writing, playing, rehearsing songs, all the while doing their artwork at the college. And they got to a point where they thought, I think this repertoire is ready to go out there. So they planned a concert in one of the studios, and they invited all the students, and they played. And the reception was rapturous, as you can imagine. But at one moment in the performance, a student stands up, and I think the students in those days spoke like, "Hey, Neill, like, what kind of music do you play?" And Ellis was sitting, and Nick, Leek, I call him Leek, sorry. Neill was sitting there on a red chair. And he stood up and he thought, well, there's all these artists and these art students, he must actually get it together. So he stands up off the red chair and he looks at the guy and he looks back at the red chair and he says, we play red chair music. So, in the 70s, New York had Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground, and Durban had Neill Solomon and the Red Chair. After Neill completed his studies, he went up to Joburg for 2 years to work as a full-time graphic artist. But at the end of 1977, he decided to hang up his graphic artist gloves and swap them, to the delight of thousands, hundreds of millions, and swap them and hang up his graphic artist gloves. So he became a musician full-time. And then COVID hit. And he went to those gloves. They were still in one of his drawers in his studio there, the graphic artist gloves. And I've seen them. He polished them and he dusted them. And as you can see, those gloves still fit. They still fit. It's brilliant. But back to that initial phone call a few weeks ago. I say, I know absolutely nothing about how to identify art, how it's classified, the stylistic context, the disciplines. All I know is that I either like it, I'm not sure, or I don't. Says Neill, not to worry, cool. You'll be fine. I call him Leek, he calls me Cor, short for Corrie. No, but that's for another story. That's another story. You know, the first thing I did after that phone call was go onto my ChatGPT account. And I put the following prompt in. Because I was shaking a bit. I said, opening speech for Neill Solomon's art exhibition. Yes, those oaks on the news floor at ChatGPT, beyond the clouds, they know him. They've met him because they sent back Yes, they sent back reams. So I've edited slightly for time. So I'm going to read you what my friends on the news floor at ChatGPT have said about my friend Neill Solomon and his art. Art has the power to move us, to stir our emotions, and to challenge our perceptions. It serves as a medium through which artists can express their deepest thoughts, unveil hidden truths, and reflect the world around us with unparalleled beauty. And tonight, we have the privilege of immersing, or no, today. I forgot to tell them it was in the morning. Sorry about that. So I'll just change that. I should have spoken. Anyway, we have the privilege of immersing ourselves in the artistic world of Neill Solomon. In each stroke of his brush, in every vibrant hue, Neill Solomon's art captures the essence of the human experience. His keen eye for detail and his ability to breathe life into his subjects allow us to witness their stories unfold before our very eyes. Through his art, Neill invites us to partake in the joys and sorrows, the triumphs and tribulations, and the timeless moments that shape our lives. Today, I got it right now. Today, we gather not only to appreciate Neill Solomon's artistry, but also to acknowledge the transformative power of art in our lives. Let us celebrate the freedom of expression, the ability to see the world through a different lens, and the profound impact that artists like Neill have on our collective consciousness. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Neill Solomon for sharing his remarkable talent with us today. Your art inspires, enlightens, and enriches our lives. And for that, we are eternally grateful. May this exhibition be a testament to your creative brilliance and an enduring source of inspiration for generations to come. Tell them I'll call them back.
Sorry, Brendan.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us now embark on this artistic journey together as we explore the depths of Neill Solomon's imagination and discover the magic that lies within his art. Enjoy this exhibition and may it ignite your own artistic spirits. Thank you. That's the thank you from them. I'm not finished yet. But you see, they know you up there. Neill, all the best on this new journey. Well, it's not really a new journey. It's a tangent to what you've been doing all your life, creating beautiful pieces of art and music and theatre and whatever you've been doing. Just carry on. Big thanks and well spotted Gordon Froud, who had to be in White River, I believe, Taryn? Yeah, for hosting Neill here. May this day be the beginning of many fickle melancholia exhibitions. In my mind, I already see Melancholia 2, and then 3, and then 4. But that's then. Right now, let's enjoy Fickle Melancholia 1. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Wonderful.
And I'm not going to do one of those over-intellectual kind of chats about the art and all that. If you want to chat about it, we can chat. So, welcome. Have a drink. Just stand tall.
Also want to just take a photo quickly. Just hold on a second. Sorry.
Korean soul.
Korean soul. There we go.
Just hold on a second. Thank you.
Give him another clap.